Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. Now as always, I'm your host, The Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Now, had a lot of people telling me how they miss the old format for the videos, where I had longer videos and multiple segments. I am listening to you. So, starting with this episode, we're going back to the older, longer format. But also, I'm going to change it up a little bit because I've gotten a lot of great feedback about the comic book-centric stuff. So guess what? One show a week will be purely nothing but comic books, comic book movies, all that awesome nerdy stuff that I love. And the other two shows will be pure video games. So, before I get into it, of course, I had a nice little giveaway from last time. I was talking about the best and worst comic book superhero movies of all time. But I didn't tell you my number ones for either list. So, did anybody properly guess my winners? Okay, the number one, my absolute favorite comic book superhero movie of all time, pretty easy one, The Dark Knight. A lot of people guess this one right. It's kind of a gimme, but I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, let alone favorite superhero comic book movies. It was just perfect. Heath Ledger was awesome. I mean, forget the fact that, he passed. Well, don't forget, but that had nothing to do with it for me. It was just a perfect representation of the Joker. And it wasn't just Heath. It was, Nolan's take on this whole thing. Just fantastic movie from front to back. Now, the worst one ever, Punisher. And yeah, you're seeing that image right. All of them. I mean, you got this Dolph Lundgren thing that was such shtick Dolph Lundgren action movie that just happened to have Punisher slapped on it. He didn't even wear the skull thing. I mean, what is that? The Thomas Jane one gets close. He actually did a fairly good job as Frank Castle, got into the character a little bit, but everyone around him was just crap-tastic. It was just not good. And then that last one, Punisher Warzone, that's just a travesty. That was just this sycophant, it was just so grody and ultra-violent. There was no substance to it whatsoever. And so, yes, I did indeed forget Catwoman in my countdown, but this would still take number one, because to do it so badly 3 freaking times is just ridiculous. So who won that Dark Avengers Assemble trade paperback? Well, that goes to the only person who pretty much guessed it right. Now, he said Dark Knight and Punisher 2, which I think he means Punisher Warzone. But he's the only person who guessed Punisher as that worst one, which is 00 MR Agent. I think he's saying 00 Mr. Agent. And his channel, Wicked Heart Games. I will indeed be sending that awesome trade paperback, Dark Avengers Assemble, to you, sir. So, let's get into the pull list. So once again, Wednesday is New Comic Book Day, so it's time to head down to your local comic book store, meet your local comic book guru, and pick up these books in addition to a lot of other really cool ones. Now, first up is Higher Earth number 1. Now, Sam Humphries is doing a little sci-fi follow-up to his awesome Our Love Is Real that he put out last year. Now, this is a universe where there are many parallel universes, alternate timelines, alternate Earths, and these two just great characters are trying to find what's called Higher Earth. It's sort of like the one Earth to rule them all kind of thing, a supposed paradise. And so you have these two, this rogue military guy and a woman who came up from nothing are trying to find this together. So it's sort of got a Sliders feel and, this great sort of character interaction between these two. It's just really cool little sci-fi thing. And I'm not sure it has what it takes to last, but I'm really digging the first issue. So definitely go check out Higher Earth number 1. Next up, Marvel Zombies Destroy number 1. It's Nazi zombies. I mean, what else do you need? Oh, right. There's also Dum Dum Dugan and Howard the Duck. Okay, they form this dozen awesome zombie fighters called Ducky's Dozen. And they're going to fight zombies. I mean, what else do I need to say? Marvel Zombies are back. They were so awesome every time before. They're going to be so awesome again. Go and pick it up, okay? Next recommendation, Mysteries in Space number 1. Now, I really like it when something like this comes up. I don't know if any of you remember the Solo ongoing series. Every one, they were plus-size issues where they would focus on one writer or one artist collaborating with a bunch of different people, writing a bunch of sort of short stories in comic book form. Well, this is kind of like that, except it's all sort of, sci-fi short story based in a comic book vein, and that's just really, really cool. Now, some awesome names lined up on this one. We got like Paul Pope, Andy Diggle, Ryan Sook, and Michael Allred are all involved in this project. So, it's a plus-size issue, but there's just so much cool little stories in there. Definitely go check it out. It's just a one-shot, but it's a great, great read, okay? Just add that to your collection. All right, last recommendation here is a big one, Walking Dead 97. Of course, a lot of you probably watched the AMC television show Walking Dead, and 97 issues. Yes, this has been going a while. It has been consistently one of the best-selling and just most critically acclaimed comic book series on the planet for the last several years, and with very good reason. Now, issue 97 is the start of a new arc, and it's leading up to that, of course, big milestone, issue 100. It's a very big deal. And Robert Kirkman, creator, is saying that, you see it on the front, it says something to fear, that by issue 100, for the first time, they will truly have something to fear, which makes you wonder, really, what has all this been up to now? What does he have in store? So, this is something you should all be reading anyway, but now is definitely the time to jump on that one and grab it. Okay, so enough talking about comics, sort of. The Avengers came out, of course. So, let's head into Nerd TV and talk about it. So the Avengers finally hit theaters. Smashed box office records, like $207 million in the first weekend, and it was awesome. Go see it if you haven't. I mean, who hasn't, really? I mean, if you're broke, go fix that. Go see it. I don't care what you got to do. Rob a bank, whatever. Okay, don't really rob a bank, because that would be bad, and they try to blame me. But go see Avengers, okay? But the movie was really, really awesome. Not quite as good as The Dark Knight for me, but I think it's my number 2 now. And part of what made it great was this awesome character interaction. It's something I was really looking forward to. Tony Stark interacting with Captain America, they're such clashing personality types. And getting all these personalities to work together, I was looking forward to it for a long time, and it really, really worked well. But it got me thinking, there's a lot of other potential Avengers. And who do we really want to see in that next Avengers film? Who do we want them to bring in, okay? So, my list of the top 5 characters I want to see in the next Avengers film, okay? First up, Spider-Man. I know. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan to begin with, and this one seems like sort of a safe choice. He's really popular. But think about that particular character, the quippy young guy interacting with Thor and Captain America. I think it would make for a really cool, fun dynamic to play with as far as the characters go in the next movie. And of course, his set of powers, I think, are different enough from the other characters that would make a really neat dynamic and be a lot of fun to play with, okay? My next, number 2, Wolverine. Again, I know, it's probably a safe choice, but come on. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine interacting with all those crazy people that were in the first Avengers movie, that's just awesome. I mean, he'll hate everyone, except maybe, Black Widow. He'll try to get in her pants. But that's okay, I can't say I blame him. But I think that would be really cool. I think he and Hawkeye would sort of get along really well, and of course, he tried to fight various people, and I don't care how bad you are, you just can't keep Wolverine down. So I think that would be a lot of fun to see. So let's get a little deeper now with my number 3. This is Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Together are my number 3. Of course, they come together. Now, they are longtime Avengers, and they are the son and daughter of Magneto. So maybe they get introduced in the next X-Men First Class movie as babies, because that's all set in the 1960s or maybe 1970s, and then you bring them in as adults coming into the next Avengers film. Now, for those not familiar, they're both mutants. Quicksilver has super speed. He's kind of like the Flash, not quite that fast. He also has an ego that's just unbelievably huge. Scarlet Witch has reality-altering powers, which you can do so much. You can do just about anything with reality-altering powers in a movie, in the comics, whatever. I think that would be a really cool dynamic, okay? I keep saying that. But number 2 that I want the most, Miss Marvel. Now, part of this, I think, is they just need more women in this cast. I mean, there was one female team member. Now, you might say, oh, hey, there was Maria Hill. Well, she's not actually an Avenger. She's part of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she's not really an Avenger. So we need more women in this cast, okay? I said Scarlet Witch already, but Miss Marvel is sort of the Wonder Woman of the Marvel Universe. She's got a lot of different powers. A lot of what people are familiar with Rogue, with like the strength and the flight and whatnot, she actually got from the original Miss Marvel. So there's there's all that. There's strength, there's flight, there's energy powers. There's just a lot of stuff. She's a big, big powerhouse. And so I think that would be really cool, too, to introduce a true female powerhouse into a film like that. I think that would be really, really cool. Now, how they would introduce her, maybe they introduce her in the next Thor, or maybe she's brand new for Avengers 2. I think either one would work. Now, finally, my number one, the Vision. Now, the Vision is an android created by Ultron. Now, Ultron was created by Henry Pym, who is Ant-Man / Giant Man. Now, there's been a lot of talk about having a Wasp Ant-Man or Wasp Giant Man movie made, and maybe they're still working on that. And so that would certainly be a way to introduce the Vision. You have them either build Vision, maybe he starts off bad and goes good, or you go the true comic book route where they build Ultron, and Ultron builds the Vision. But either way, he's just such an awesome character because he always struggles to try and find this humanity that he doesn't really have. Vast array of powers like invisibility, he can change his density. There's just a lot of stuff you can play with, and that classic costume. I mean, you don't change the Vision's costume. It's just too awesome. It's perfect just the way it is. So that's what I have to say about that. So those are my top 5 characters we want to see in the next Avengers film. So what do I got to end it with you? More Nerd TV! What can I say? I was pretty excited about the Avengers film. And for those of you with astute eyes, you noticed at the end they showed another villain. Okay, now this is not a spoiler, really. I mean, seriously. Avengers, the good guys win. They're going to make another Avengers movie. Shocking, right? Well, they just had a little hint at who the next villain will be. Thanos. Now, Thanos, I thought I'd take some time and give you a little background if you're not a big comic book fan. Now, Thanos is born on Titan, which is a moon of Jupiter, and he's always been just power mad. Now, he's insanely powerful as it is. Like, Loki is children's play compared to what Thanos can do. But he's always been very, very power mad. He's gone after these huge cosmic power sources that would grant him very near omnipotence, okay? He also has an obsession with death. And by death, I mean the physical incarnation of death. It's a woman in the Marvel Universe. He's in love with her. And everything he does is to try and impress her and win her hand. Now, this is a guy, he's so powerful that whenever he shows up, it generally takes about half the Marvel Universe just to stop the guy from whatever he's trying to do. And that's a big, tall order to fill, especially just for Earth's mightiest heroes, where really they need the whole galaxy's mightiest heroes. But nevertheless, I think he's just going to be an awesome, awesome villain. I'm a huge fan of the character. Jim Starlin created him, and he's such fun to read. He's just so brutal, but also so deep. So I thought I would help you out, give you some homework to knock out over the next 3 years before that next movie comes out. Some required reading for Thanos. Now, the first one you got to go check out is Silver Surfer, Rebirth of Thanos. Now, before this, Thanos was kind of a small side character. Nobody really messed with him too much. This is where he started to rise to prominence. Now, immediately after that was Thanos Quest, just 2-issue thing, but it led into the big time with Infinity Gauntlet. This is where, of course, Thanos went after said Infinity Gauntlet, which truly did give him all the power. He was truly omnipotent. He even killed off 1/3 of the population of the universe in one fell swoop just by snapping his fingers. It took pretty much God, as far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, the living tribunal, to undo this horrible act. But that's what he was trying to do, just to impress the Lady Death. Not to be confused with Lady Death, that's a completely different comic book universe. Next thing you want to check out is Thanos. Now, this is a comic book series that ran from 2003 to 2004, 12 issues written by Jim Starlin and Keith Giffen. Fantastic. It really gets into sort of this redemption road that he's on to try and turn his life around, but he's still this brutal, crazy powerful, sadistic bastard, but it's awesome. Okay, next up you want to check out Annihilation. Now, this is a huge crossover that sort of redid the entire cosmic everything when it comes to the Marvel Universe, and Thanos had a big part in it. He almost killed Galactus, which, that's crazy. Galactus survived the Big Bang, but Thanos almost took him down. It was crazy, but it's a great, great read. And finally, this is more recent, is Thanos Imperative. And this was part of a big crossover that sort of put a big bow on a lot of the cosmic stuff that Marvel had been doing that they kind of had to abandon because of low sales. But once again, Thanos, a big central part of it. They even put his name in the title. So go find those. All of those you can now find in trade paperback or hardcover. Read them all. Get to know Thanos before, probably 2015, when we finally see another Avengers movie and we see Thanos in the flesh on screen. All right. Does it for comics and comic book movies. We'll see you guys next time.